All right, so I was breaking down the Eagles' final drive earlier this week. I was talking about how with the double slant combination against quarters, I thought Jalen Hurts had both outside slants in those situations. And then I had a football guy that I respect come back and say, double slants versus quarters, not a fan. And I've always been a huge fan of double slant against quarters or two or any too high shell, because when you have double slants, okay, what you're looking for is just one underneath defender to that side, on the inside, so we can inside out that guy. And what he said his worry was this safety being able to drive this outside slant and then the inside player taking the inside slant. But for me, and what I know, from my time playing was that this guy right here in quarters is usually reading the release of this guy right here. If he goes to the flat right now, then no doubt, this guy frees up knowing that the only other responsibility is the outside guy. He's got outside help with the corner, so now he can free up to take this slant and do exactly what my friend was talking about in quarters. But when this guy goes vertical, his first threat is don't let anybody get inside you down the middle of the field. It's the same responsibility for this guy. They do not want to let number two get inside of them because that's the weakest area of the defense. So if number two gets inside and this guy frees up to go outside, now you've got a shot down the middle, because there's nobody else there. So you were trying to wall him with the underneath defender, and the safety is trying to stay inside of him as well. And so on double slants, when this guy's going inside and vertical, I've never had an issue with this guy, coming off and hitting the outside slant. I think that's very rare because of what his responsibility is and what he's reading on this play. So I thought I would, put this together and kind of show you, what I'm talking about with the double slants against quarters, because I think it's really good and I see it hit almost every single week. And so this is actually against Philly's defense, okay? Whole key is we got to get this guy, right? So I said one underneath defender. There's my one underneath defender. Can't let another underneath defender get over there. If this guy's over here on this side, we're not going to attack double slants because obviously they've got two underneath guys to pass it off. I can only have one underneath defender to that side. So this Mike gets over the ball. He moves to the strong side. So here we got it. And again, we're always reading this guy. So there's nothing to say, right? Right here, he gets in outside leverage position. But he also knows that even though he's in outside leverage position, his responsibility is still not to let that guy free release and run down the middle of the field. And so here we got it right here, okay? I think this guy's eyes are on number two, as most teams teach it, okay? They hold right there. Look how quickly this slant happens, okay? Boom, ball's out, just inside the numbers. And the whole idea is when we have double slants, this is our primary read. So as a quarterback, I'm thinking and setting to the outside slant. I'm hitting my back foot, I'm throwing the outside slant, but while I'm setting, I'm of course reading this guy. So if this guy buzzes, I got to react inside quickly, but I'm not looking and spending all my time and setting inside and then working outside. I'm getting my read, but my thought process is outside slant. It's another reason why when I was talking on the Eagles video, I hate when these two guys run their depth at the exact same, or they run the exact same depth on their routes. Because if I'm trying to read this guy, I can't read him until the inside guy makes a move. So it's another reason that we can delay an outside slant because I haven't been able to get a read yet. That guy hasn't moved because my receiver hasn't moved inside. And so now I have to sit there and wait, and I can be late on the outside slant. Why, to me, it's so important to do a one step here so I can know after one step what this guy is doing. One step, he chases inside or even just contacts. That's all I'm really looking for. I'm just looking for him to hold inside position or contact number two, and boom, ball is out to the slant outside, just like Dak does right here. Back foot hits, ball's out. Get ourselves a nice completion against quarters. Okay, here's one on the bottom. We're into the short side. Okay, so we have more of a tight end right here, but same thing. One underneath defender. They're in quarters coverage. quarter safety. And again, here's the 49ers, right, who the Eagles were playing. He's holding inside. That's all I need. All I need is this guy to hold inside for a quick second. Boom, ball's up. There it is. Look how quickly the ball is out because I'm thinking outside slant, outside slant, outside slant. As long as that defender stays inside, as I expect him to do, get the outside slant on him, boom. This one actually outside the numbers because we're so quick and ready. I think that's Spencer Rattler right there getting the slant out quickly. Okay, this one's even harder. So this is almost more of a cover 2 shell. But what you see is they're dropping 8 here. Okay, so they've got 6 underneath guys here because they're dropping 8, only rushing 3. And they're going to run the double slant to the top. So this isn't quarters, so to speak. But I just want to show how quickly Jalen has thrown the slant before. Okay, so we got an extra defender right here, so he doesn't even have to wall and chase him inside. But we've got double slant against that drop 8, and look at this ball come out. Boom. There it is. Outside the numbers. Well done. Even this guy right here who bangs and falls off, which I know some people were worried about on the second slant by the 49ers, which again we'll show later in this tape. But look how quickly. See it? Get it out. Get on the back foot. Boom. We still complete it, and he's still able to catch and run. Didn't even stop him really with the ball. Nice play on the double slants. Okay. Here we're going to go down, up on the top. Okay, so looking for one defender. So as long as this guy gets over here, we got double slants against quarters. Safety's never a factor. See the safety's eyes, right? Safety's eyes are right here. What is this guy doing? Oh, he's releasing vertical and up the field. He's not going to release out there to number 1 very often, or at least in my experience. And here it is again. Boom. Easy. Easy outside slant over and over and over again against the quarters coverage. Okay, here's another one by New Orleans. Okay, quarter safety, looking at number 2. Getting depth, all this space over here. I'm coming back going, I'm throwing the outside slant unless this guy just beelines it out here right now. As long as I get him to hold at all, he holds, boom, ball's out. There it is. Throw it wide, easy completion, and even some run after catch. Okay, New Orleans obviously runs it a lot. Here's the double slant. Again, quarter safety, not in the mix. This guy even sit outside leverage, but he's outside leverage and chases. He simply just turns his hips to the inside, be ready, hit the outside slant. Boom, there it is. Easy, right? Easy, over and over and over again. Safety never gets involved. Got to read the inside guy. And so a lot of guys will force this one inside. And I see why, right? You get inside leverage off of this defender. Okay, so I understand why you might try to jam it in there and possibly could get that throw anyways. But if I'm reading that defender that's circled and I'm thinking outside slant, he has got to turn and go cover the outside slant for me not to take it. So even if he's outside leverage here and showing me and tempting me to throw the inside one, he's turned his hips and he's running inside. I will beat him with the outside slant if he does this. And that's always what I'm thinking. I'm not trying to force the inside one because this guy and the bodies and people are always in there. So even if I throw this, he's in a great position to kind of contact or be there when the ball gets there. And I see so many incomplete passes because it looks enticing, but they're not really seeing the defender. They're just seeing their receiver get inside leverage, so throw it to him. I want to see that defender. And if that defender does anything to cover the inside one, to me, the easier throw is always, and the higher percentage throw is always the outside slant. Good timing, good throw. Okay, this takes us back to these two, right? My linebacker goes over here, 2-on-1. Okay, get back and throw it. Throw it. Now, again, they push the inside guy up, the same timing. So to me, that's what clouds this all the time for the Eagles because, look, they're both breaking it exactly the same time. So this guy's much wider than he would be if he had run a one-step slant And now he's able to open up this more with the one step than he is with the three step. But even with all that being said, if I'm thinking outside guy, this guy, all he does is have to hold for a second. If I'm throwing it on time, I've got my outside slant right there for the completion. And again, the other thing that you always wonder is we've seen him run it a couple times, and this guy was in at least a +2 from the bottom of the numbers. Here he's in a little tighter alignment. I don't know why. When they've done it with him wider, when AJ there was wider, but nonetheless, that to me is wide open, and you hit that every time. And then this one here. Okay, so now we're in about a +2 from the outside. There it is. That's all I need, is this guy to contact right there. And if I'm ready to throw the outside slant, there it is. And again, they're tight together because they run it at the same depth, and they're both breaking. And so Jalen's got to be able to see this and react off of it. So I understand why it's tougher when you put that guy at 5 yards. And I don't know, is that guy going to come off of him? But if I get that at all, if I come back and I'm thinking outside slant and I get that defender to do that, he stops his feet, he puts his hands on number 2, I have this outside slant every time, put it on his body, complete that right there, and we're moving forward. He's looking that direction. And again, he doesn't feel comfortable because this guy does bang and then does come off, but it's because we're not throwing it on time. We're reading inside, and we're spending too much time on the inside. We're taking too much time on the inside, which makes it cloudier on the outside, but we've already seen it. We've already seen this guy come off in that Detroit clip, and he still threw the outside slant because we have to think outside slant first. But to the point, the quarter safety has not gotten involved in a single one of these because number 2, pushing vertical, and he's worried about that first, the release of number 2 first, and that's normally too late for him to get involved on these slants in those situations. And so just wanted to take you through a little teaching tape and show you why I believe double slant is really good against quarters, how I believe double slant should be run to help this guy right here, to clean up the picture for that guy, to create better spacing for that guy so we can be successful in a look like this, which isn't fully clean. The outside linebacker does about as good a job as he can of putting hands on the inside guy and then trying to fall off late for the outside slant. But that ball should be long gone. Ball should be long gone. And here's the other problem is when both guys run up and we're telling them to do it at the same time. This outside slant's actually breaking before the inside slant in this particular case. Can't have it. Like, that's always going to be a problem if we're breaking with our outside guy before our inside guy, because now he's getting closer to our read and we haven't even gotten our read yet. So it is so vital for these guys to be patient in this situation. But again, more importantly, one step, go. Go. Make that guy make a decision. Make that guy squeeze right now. Get these two guys on different levels and different timing so I open up that spacing and make it easier for the quarterback. Always the why. Why do we run them at the same depth? What does that give us an advantage as a quarterback? How does it give me an advantage with my read? What does it do for us as a team if he pushes up to 5 yards? Always got to ask the why questions on all of these little details, because I believe this, as much as anything, hurts. Because we've got Devontae Smith coming out of it before Dallas Goedert's coming out of this, and so it squeezes down this space, right? I see that. I see how tight that is right there. Again, if I'm thinking outside slant and that guy contacts my number 2, I think I'm completing that every single time without a doubt. But I understand why it can look a little dicier here because of the way that they are running this and how quick they are on the outside and how much slower they are on the inside. All those little details, to me, is what ultimately makes this an uncomfortable throw and a run, and that's why those details are always so important, even on the simplest play like a double slant.